welcome back to another episode of State of Sonder. Today, I am doing a solo episode. I haven't done one in a while, and I actually took the entire month of May off from filming. I needed a little bit of a reset, and so I felt like a solo episode would be perfect. I cannot believe it's June and we're already halfway through the year. I started filming for this in December, and then I think I launched at the end of January. And since then, it's just been going, going, going. And I'm so grateful for everyone who's come on and has been a guest. A lot of them were friends, but I just feel like the conversation, well, no, all of them were friends, but I feel like some of them I didn't know that much about or I haven't seen in a really long time. And even with the friends that I see often and that I'm super, super close with, I feel like I went into the conversations with certain ideas of what we would talk about, but a lot of times organically the conversation would just like veer into something else, and it just made it so much more fun. And I learned a lot, and I feel like a lot of times these guests brought just really great insight and a lot of valuable information. And so I'm very, very grateful. I really was like, am I going to get past episode 3? But here we are. I think this is episode 11. So yeah, the journey has been fun. I will say the past 6 months have felt like a complete blur. And I know last year something that I wanted to kind of change going into this year was like making sure that like I'm not measuring time or months by events that were going to happen. But honestly, I'm not going to lie, I was doing that again, and now it's June. But I think I had kind of overloaded myself this beginning half of the year. So I was doing my full-time job, and then I was freelancing, and then I was doing this podcast and like filming and editing and all of that. And then on top of that, I was working with a couple for over a year on planning their wedding. So I kind of do weddings like freelance. I feel like events is something that is kind of like just really innate in me, like being able to plan and execute events. And I used to do event planning. So then now what I do in my work, I don't really do events at all. And I wanted to keep that kind of going in some form or fashion. And so when this couple approached me, this was, I think it was like last March of like 2024, maybe February. And I remember when she had reached out to me, I thought she was asking about wedding planning, like, how is it? And like all of that. But then she was like, no, like, would you be willing to plan our wedding? And at that time, like, things were chill. Like I didn't have that much on my plate. So I was like, yeah, totally. Like I'm so honored. But you have to think about weddings being like a year production. And I think as like things got busier, like I got a little bit more stressed, and I felt like a little bit like, did I bite off more than I could chew? But this couple was so lovely. So lovely. They were the most chill couple to work with. Honestly, I feel like I was more stressed than them pretty much the whole time. But they were just so great, and they're so cute, and it was just like so fun planning with them. And initially, like once you get the venue and stuff, like it's kind of chill. And then it's like the last like 2 months leading into the wedding where everything is like, okay, we got to make sure that this is good and this is in order and all of that. And I've done a lot of big scale events, like thousands of people, and they're usually corporate events, but I get way more nervous and stressed out for weddings because like a lot of women dream about their wedding day, or like they've thought about it since they were young or whatnot. And like for the couple, this is like their special day. I know like it's such a big investment, especially right now. Like weddings are crazy expensive. So being able to be the planner for a couple, I find that so like, I'm just so grateful that they would even think of me, but to trust me with that, it's like, it's big. And so I definitely want it to be exactly how they wanted it, and like just their perfect day, how they envisioned it. I want them to have fun. And so I think a lot of those thoughts like come into my head. It was funny because the day of the wedding, it was drizzling, and this was an outdoor wedding, like majority was outdoor. And so I was just like, oh God, like this is not good, and I was freaking out, but it ended up being so fun and so beautiful. And I felt like it was very much the couple. And I think I love weddings like that. Like, I don't, like, I feel like a wedding should feel like who you are with your partner and not just like something that you feel like completely out of your shell. And that was something really important to the bride. And so I really felt like it was them. And their friend group is so fun. It reminded me so much of our friend group. And it was just really exciting to see it all come together. And I think I have this moment with events. Like, events are so stressful and a lot goes into it, but there is always this moment where you kind of like look out and you see everything happening. And like, I always get really choked up. So I definitely had a moment like that when all her friends were, or all their friends were all on the dance floor and like dancing together and like jumping up and down. And I was, my girl Stacy was helping me and we're standing together, and I got like teary eyed because I was like, okay, this is why I always come back, even though I like go through all that stress and I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to do it again. But no, really, this wedding was so easy in a way because the couple was so amazing and it was really fun. But this was the beginning of May. And so after that, I was like, okay, I can take a breath. I can take a step back and just like, I need to like reset. So I had already been kind of feeling this like burnt out feeling brewing in me. And I felt like I was so just like going through the motions. And I'm someone who I have to take kind of a step back to like ground myself again when things get really busy. And when I don't have that opportunity, I know me and I get very shut down and like I start to feel depressed because I almost feel like I'm out of my body. And I'm someone who's very like, I feel like I'm very centered and I like know myself really well and I'm like very grounded in myself, that when I have that feeling, it really like nothing excites me, nothing makes me feel like happy. Oh my God, that's so depressing. But it really was like that. Like, I felt kind of depressed. And in April, like my friends really randomly decided to go to Coachella, and I talked about it in Melissa's episode so many times, so like I won't really go into it, but I needed it. Like, I really needed to just like get out of town, even though it was just one day, and just like be free and be with the people that I love and like not care and just like let loose. It was like exactly what I needed. It was like the medicine I needed to like get back on my feet. But then I was like, you know what? Like, I know that like if I stop recording at any point or stop filming with guests, like I won't have the, I guess I would just say backlog of like things coming forward, and that could be very stressful. But I was like, I think I can only show up with clarity and like excitement if like I give myself this space to rest. So in May, I just hung out with my friends. There were so many birthdays in May, and we had something every weekend. But yeah, I just got to be present and like hang out with all my friends, go to these birthdays, go to these events, spend time with my boyfriend. Like, it was just really nice. And I felt very refreshed. And also it gave me time to like think about the direction that I want to continue going with this podcast, with my life, with my career, with just everything. And so summer is finally here, and I feel like me and my group of friends come alive in the summer. Like, we're in like hibernation in the winter and when it's cold, and then in the summer we just come alive. And I am a July baby, so summer is my jam. And I don't know, I think because a lot of my friends are kind of in this new chapter of their life where a lot of them are married and they're going to probably start thinking about having children in the coming years. And so I think last year everyone was calm, like nothing happened in the summer, everyone was chilling. But this year everyone's like antsy and wanting to do things and wanting to go out and like go to different like whatevers. And I think it's because like we're all like feeling like, okay, we're starting to get older and like we're gonna have these different stages of life start to happen, and we just kind of wanted to like rally while we still can. And I'm excited. I feel like I really just enjoy doing things with my friends, and I feel like summer is like the best time. I think it's because when we were in school, like summer break was like 3 months long, and so you just look forward to summer break. And I feel like even as an adult, even though we have to work and continue to work through the summer, it's just like your mentality changes, your vibe changes. Anyway, we are planning this big epic trip to go to Hawaii. I don't actually know when this started or how it started, but my friend Ed recently went to Hawaii, and I love Hawaii. Like, it's one of my favorite places ever. And we were like, okay, we want to do a friend trip. But the issue is with our group of friends, I don't know how it's so large, but when we like made a list, it was like 40 people. So it was really kind of hard to do any kind of group trip unless it's like pretty local. And we decided to take this feat on and do one last epic friend trip to Hawaii. I still don't really know when exactly it's going to be, but Ed and I are planning it. And so once the date is locked in, we got to move because that island is small and I don't even know if they can accommodate that many people. But I think I said I wasn't going to plan anything for a while, but this just is something that I feel like will fulfill me in so many ways. So I'm really, really excited about that. And I think just as of recent, I've been reflecting a lot of like my friendships and just this second chosen family that I've built over the past like 10 plus years. And it's so insane. Like, I've known some of the friends in my friend group since I was like kindergarten, fourth grade, seventh grade, and then no less than 10 years for like a lot of them. But within our friend group, there are also a group of friends that have grown up together since they were kids as well. Another friend group that have grown up since they were kids as well. So it's just like this giant compound of like friends that grew up together, and then we became like a larger friend group. And I realized how rare it is to have what we have, because for me it was so normal because that's all I knew. It's since I came back from college, like this was my group of friends, and so I didn't know anything else. But especially as I get older and when as I like meet other people, I realize how uncommon it is and how rare it is to like maintain that many friendships for this long. But I really am so grateful. And I think that I've thought a lot about this recently. I was like, how do we do it? We're so busy and everyone is like building their lives. And, you know, now they're building like their friendships, but also like, you know, when you're married, you build your like family life together. And I was just like, we're so busy, we're getting busier and more things are happening. Like our priorities are changing, yet we still like are really close. And I think it's that we really do prioritize each other and we really make time. I feel like, especially with my girlfriend, we don't really go more than a couple weeks without seeing each other. And granted, we just love hanging out with each other, but we really are conscious about making time. Like if we haven't seen each other for a long time, we're like, okay, let's put something in the books. Like let's get a dinner, or let's go like do a coffee run all together. Or sometimes with our larger group, especially in the summer, we're like, let's do summer barbecues. And, you know, we all come together and like we make it a point to like be there. And I think that's so important. And I realize, you know, with friendships and with relationships, it's being intentional and really showing up for each other, not just when it's like hard, but like even in the like mundane things, because I feel like it's your effort and it's showing that you care. And you know, my best friend and I, Jessie, we've been best friends for like 20 years now, and Jessie and I don't talk every single day, or like we don't hang out all the time, and she travels a lot, so I don't see her for long periods of time. But like we just, when we can, we will. And we just have this knowing that we like got each other. Like there's so much trust there. And I think I feel that a lot with like a lot of my friends in my friend group. But again, we really try and we really work on those relationships and cultivate those relationships so that they can get stronger and that we can continue to build and grow together. With that, I've also had to kind of like look at just my relationships in general and like take a little bit of inventory. And I'm someone who like, I don't like saying no. I don't like to, you know, I think I get like sensitive about that, like about saying no or like not being at X, Y, and Z for somebody or whatnot. But I realize I have to get better at saying no, which I have. I feel like I really have. But I had to because like I was getting spread thin and time is so valuable and it's so important to me. And if my soul like doesn't really want to do something and it's telling me like I don't really want to do that, I think it's important to listen. And sometimes people will be like, oh, that's mean or like fucked up or whatever. But I feel like I'm at an age where it's just like, you don't have to do that. Like if it is, okay, this is what it is. How do I put this? Effort doesn't lie. So it's like whatever matters to you or whatever you prioritize, it is reflected in your effort. And I think there's no way of going around that. That's in work, that's in relationships, that's truly in anything. It's like what matters to you will show in your actions. And I think that you have to be very honest with yourself about that. Like, even with friendships, it's like maybe you've been friends for a really long time or you want to be friends and you want to maintain this relationship, but it's not really like in your soul, it's not fueling you or making you feel fulfilled, or it's not like one that you truly feel like you're invested in, then your effort is not gonna go far. And so I think I had to kind of realize that and check myself because I was like, stop trying, because it's almost like fake otherwise, right? And so I had to check myself and be like, okay, does this relationship feel like something that I really want to invest in? And is this something where I feel like I'm being intentional in the way that I show up and honest? Or does it feel like I'm just going through the motions because I feel like that's right? And I think when it's the latter, you kind of just have to be willing to let that go because it's not doing any good for you, but it's certainly not doing any good for them either. And so I think I didn't realize that for the longest time, but as I get older, I'm starting to figure that part out and being better about where I give my time and my energy, and like when I do that, to do it well. I'm a very like picky person when it comes to like the company that I keep, but I think that that is really important. And I've always been that way. And sometimes my friend, my best friend, makes fun of me because she's like, you could just tell in your face if you care or you don't. And I'm like, I'm sorry. But I think because when I care about somebody and I really want to invest in them and I want to be intentional with them, I give them everything. Like I give my whole heart. I really like spend time to like learn about them and learn about how they feel loved and how they feel seen and, you know, how they feel cared for. And I put a lot of energy into that. I can't have that energy for literally everybody. So that's why I'm pretty picky about like, okay, if I'm going to do it, then I'm going to go all the way. So like, who do I want to keep in my circle and like invest in their life? And I think because of the way that I am in terms of protecting my energy and who I keep around me, I've built such an amazing community. And like I have like truly a family. And everyone is like, you know, hustling and working hard, and they have such great values, and they're such kind-hearted people. And like, you know, I feel like they're so like honest in the way that they lead their life, and that is the kind of environment that I want to be in. And I think that that is important because I think the energy exchange with people is so real. And it's like when you start to not kind of discern that, I think it starts to impact your life and how things are moving or how they're not. And that's something my mom taught me from a young age. And so I think that's why like I'm pretty particular. I don't even know how I got to this topic. I think we were talking about Hawaii, but I think that that's important because I feel like a lot of times people ask me like, how have you maintained so many of your friendships? How is your friend group so big? Like, how are you guys all so close? And I think it's just like, we're very intentional. We're there for each other. We support each other to the fullest extent. And we make the time and we put in the effort. I really think that that's kind of it. And we have similar, things that we enjoy. We have like similar values. Everyone is so like loyal and kind. So I don't know. It just is what it is. I am turning 33 next month. I think literally exactly in a month. And I don't know why 33 feels weird. 31 and 32 did not feel weird, and they felt like so exciting actually. Like I really liked being in my 30s so far. I think 33 has been like, whoa, like I don't know. I don't know what it is. But a lot of my friends are already 33, so they're probably like, shut up. But I think it just felt different. And I think a big thing is, and something that I've struggled with a lot in the past couple of years, is that I did a career change when I was 30. And I did something completely new. I had to start all the way from the bottom. And it kind of was one of those things where I was like, it has to be it. Like, this has to be it. Like, I really took a leap of faith and left a career path that I was on for like years, something that I was getting really good at, to jump ship and start completely new. It's not only a very humbling experience, but it's very scary and it's a lot of work. And I went into the design field thinking like, this is it. Like, I'm going to be the next best, like whatever not. But as I was doing it, I realized like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that this is it. And I'm not sure that this is like my calling or my passion. And I think I had to really look at myself in the mirror and be like, stop lying to yourself and be honest with yourself. And stop making like, oh no, I love it. I love doing this. And this is exactly what I was meant to do. Because when you do that, you start to lose sight of like what direction you want to go. And I think over the past year, I had a really hard time battling within myself, because I was like, but I took a leap of faith. I made that jump. So this has to be it. And this is like, if it's not this, like, what am I doing? And to be 33 and have this battle in your mind is just, I was like losing it. But just like I said with like effort with friendships, I think that applies to what you do in your work, or like how you spend your time. Because if something really matters and you feel like it's your purpose and your calling, it shows up in your actions. Like, you want to do that. You want to put time there because it's like so meaningful for you. And I think when I thought about it that way, and I was just like, really check yourself, Debbie, because if this is not it, it's showing up in how you perform and how you action like your time. And then I realized like, yeah, like, if this really mattered in the way that I keep saying it does, that I keep wanting it to be, it would show up in how I move with my time. But I'm not moving in that way. Like, I would much rather do X, Y, and Z, or I would rather like go hang out with my friends. So in that sense, I was like, it doesn't fulfill me in the way that I had hoped, and that is okay. That is okay. And once I accepted that it was okay, to be honest, I was like, okay, now I got to figure out like, how do I make this work? Like, I don't need to be obsessed with it, but how can I kind of channel what I'm learning now with what I've already learned in the past, my past experiences? How can I marry all of that together? And I was grappling with it for a really long time. But then, like, AI started happening, and I kind of got really into it. Like, I got really curious about it. And, I am so lucky and fortunate that I work at a company that is so innovative and like forward thinking. And so this just started happening. It's everywhere. And like, I got really intrigued, and I was like, I never expected me to get into this like technology stuff, because I'm not really like about that. Like, I don't really like it, but for some reason this was just something that was so intriguing and interesting to me. And so now I'm like kind of like in it and like running with it and seeing what could happen. I don't know. Like, I'm still figuring it all out. But I think I feel a lot more freedom once I was very candid with myself about just my direction and my purpose and what I wanted in the future. And I think it's a lot of it is like question marks, but I don't know, I think I also know myself and I know that I'm going to be okay no matter what. And so I'm just kind of trusting in that. And something that people mention a lot is like when you're in your 30s, it's like having everything kind of figured out. Like when you're in your 30s, you should know what you're doing. You should be on the road to like marriage or having kids or whatnot. And I was one of those people. And I think I was one of those girls that like when I was growing up at 12 years old, I was like, oh, I want to be married at a certain age and like blah, 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 blah. Like I had such a vision. But I think when I turned 30, like that vision like really shattered for me. And I remember being so heartbroken about it and like grieving it and thinking that like I failed. Like, why me? Like, I feel like I'm someone that's like lived my life with kindness and with so much love to give. And like, why is this happening to me? And I realize it's so easy to kind of sit in that why me narrative. And I definitely sat in that for a while, like almost a year. But I feel like my life just started kind of expanding, if that makes sense. And I think I don't like to put, timelines on myself anymore, because when it doesn't happen, it's disappointing and it's upsetting and you almost see it as a reflection of failure to yourself. But it's not the case. And I think that that is so mean for us to do that to ourselves, because I think our journey is literally what you make it. And it's really all about like the choices you make, right? I didn't have to leave my career when I turned 30. I didn't have to end my relationship around that time as well. Like I didn't have to do those things, but it made sense to me. And it was like, I don't want to live in something that doesn't like feel right, where like it doesn't feel like the right direction. So like with my career, like I could have stayed there, and I could be doing kind of way better than I am currently, but I wouldn't change that, because I would rather be on this road to searching for what my purpose is or what fulfills me than to, sit in something just because it feels like it makes sense, or like if I leave, then I have to start all over or whatever. And I think there is just this fear around starting over, and I get it because I feel that all the time, literally all the time. But I think it's something that we don't always have to be so scared of. Like when I look back and I'm like, yeah, that period of time where I was just like starting over, it was so hard. I was so heartbroken. I was just like in shambles, and I felt like, what the fuck did I do wrong? But where am I now? Like I got past it, I got through it, and I was able to rebuild, and I was able to get stronger. I know myself so much more. Like I'm so much more aware of like what's happening within me and what feels right and wrong. Like, and I'm so grateful. So it's like, I don't know. I think especially now, I feel like people are a lot more brave in terms of taking, risks and taking leaps of faith, which I encourage, because we only have one life. And as much as like there are things that pull us away, like people have responsibilities, people have like, things that, it's a luxury, honestly, to be able to make certain changes in your life and, to be content, or to, try something new just because, like, that is a luxury and a privilege. And I think that I definitely want to say that, because it really is. But I also think there are little ways everyone can, work to better their life or to improve their life, and to bring more joy and good energy into their environment, into their soul. And I think it takes some courage. It does. But I do think that that's what life is about. And I think that we should honor ourselves in that way. I think the past half year has been very like challenging mentally for me. And I think that there was a lot of things that were just a lot of turmoil in my brain that I was having a hard time ironing out or figuring out. But I realized and this is so funny because I don't want to be like, oh my God, Coachella. But when I was there and I had this moment where I was just like standing and taking it all in, and I was like, my gosh, it is not that serious. Like, it's not. And I think, you know, people talk about purpose a lot. Like, what were you put on this earth for? What is your calling? What is your. And I still am figuring that out. Like, quite honestly, I don't know. I've been searching for a long time and I still feel like I haven't figured that out. And that's okay. And I think a lot of people feel that way. They feel lost. They feel like they don't really know what direction they're going. They didn't, grow up knowing with such full understanding of what they wanted. And it's okay to feel that way. I think it's okay to feel that way at any age. But I also think that while you're finding that and while you're discovering that, you shouldn't put so much like pressure on yourself or like think that if you don't figure it out, it's your end all be all, because it really isn't that serious. And life is meant to be lived and enjoyed, and to be with people you love and to invest in those experiences. And I don't know, I just think that life is not meant to be done alone. And I think a lot of times a lot of the things that we do for ourselves is within ourselves. It's like our career, our whatever, our relationships. And sometimes it's like nice to see the world around you and understand that there is so much that you can receive and give towards and enjoy that we're like not doing. And I realized, like, when I was thinking about this whole passion thing, I was like, I feel like my passion is like human connection. It's really investing in people and giving them space to be heard and to be seen and to like be cared for. And I think even with this platform, why it was so important to me was like, I like having guests on more than I like doing these solo episodes, because I want to know their story. How often does someone get to like really just talk about themselves and like for a length of time and talk about how they got to where they are and what makes them them, and the hardships they faced, what they've learned along the way, the internal turmoil that they're going through. Like, not really, right? Like, if you went to a bar and someone just sat there and talked to you for an hour about their entire life story, you'd be like, what? But that's what like we're conditioned to feel when we're in public places. And honestly, like, when I used to party a lot and go to bars, like, I would be that girl that's like suddenly knows this person that I talked to for an hour, this random stranger's entire life story. But I was like, I think that's just me, and I think that that's who I am, and that's what gives me fuel and life. And so I think that's why this entire podcast made so much sense, because I was like, I want to do that, and I want other people to get inspired by what people say, because people have cool stories. People have a lot of knowledge and things to share, and I learn from other people all the time. And as self-aware as I think I am, or that I know that I am, I still learn from others, and I get so interested in other people's perspectives because I've been so conditioned to, especially growing up in a Christian household and growing up in the church, it's like you're so conditioned to see things a particular way. And I think over the past years, where I've also had like a weird relationship with like faith and trying to understand what that means to me, I realize there's so much more perspective and ways of thinking and ways of life that I'm now being exposed to in my 30s. And I think that's just a beautiful thing. So I don't know, that's kind of part of my purpose. So I really hope that this just blows the fuck up and is what I do forever. I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. But yeah, so going back to the point of this was that if you are searching for that and you're searching for what is meaningful to you, it might not be in a job or a career or like a relationship or whatnot. It might be something that is just like an innate characteristic of who you are, and like seeing how that can tangibly exist for you in a meaningful way. And I think everyone is just doing the best that they can. And I don't know if you're listening, like, I see you and I understand, because it's hard. And I think life is hard, and it just gets harder as you get older for some reason. But I think that, everyone is doing the best they can. And, with leading with like love and leading with kindness and understanding, I think is meaningful to not only yourself, but to everyone around you. So I think that is very important. But yeah, I feel like turning 33 feels weird, but I'm also like, I think it's going to be a really good year for me. A lot of growth and a lot of clarity and a lot of direction. And so I welcome it with open arms. They're a little bit like not that wide, but we'll get there. So I think with this podcast, like I've obviously been going, and I've been very lucky to have a lot of great guests come on so far. I actually have an artist coming on in the next episode, and I'm really, really excited. Like I've been wanting to sit down and talk to her because I think she's so incredibly talented and amazing. And then I might have one more episode after that, but I do think that after that I might be doing like a season, like cutting it as a season. I want to be very purposeful with what I produce on this and what I share. And I feel like when I first started, I had a very like, this is how I kind of want the episodes to be. And so far, exactly like how I imagined, if not better. But just there are things that I kind of want to take a step back and think about of like how I could, make this better or more interesting, or how could I prepare better, or how can I like hardware wise, like make this better and things like that. I don't know that it's going to look any different because I'm still learning how to edit and produce, and I'm not very good at it, let's be honest. But I do wonder if that would serve me better in like future episodes and future whatnots. So I don't know. I'm still thinking about it, but that is a thought that I've had that I'm kind of leaning towards, but I just haven't made up my mind yet, because sometimes it's like fun, and like when you have someone you want to talk to, you want to like speak to them like ASAP and like get it out as soon as possible. But yeah, we'll see. Whew. I think that is all that I have for today. And I feel like I went all over the place, that I don't know how I'm going to piece this together, but hopefully it comes together in a very meaningful episode. But again, my next episode is with an artist that I have been really excited about. So I think that's going to be great. If you've listened up until this point, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.